All right. Hello, ladies, and thank you for joining us. I am Kiki Strickland, the founder of Friendship Mixers, which is all about promoting healthy female friendship and providing opportunities for you to make new friends. Please visit our website at friendshipmixers.com for more information about our organization and to become a member. We have a very serious topic today. As you all know, October is Domestic Violence Month. And while we normally are here every first Saturday of the month, usually to chat about something fun regarding friendships, I know last month we talked about money and friendship. Today's topic is very serious and possibly even life-threatening. We're going to talk about friendship and domestic violence and how we, as a person's friend, can help them if they are in a violent or abusive situation. And I do want to hear from all of you. But first, because I know that everyone doesn't want to talk if it's being recorded. So we are not going to record this whole session. I am recording now this first part on the tips for those that could not make it and who will be watching this later. So we're recording now, but then we will stop the recording and open up the discussion for all of you to share. We'll also have our one-on-one time so that you can meet at least one other lady here in our virtual session. All right, so we're going to kick this off with a very recent case of possible domestic violence that ended in murder, and that's been in the news lately. So most of you probably know who this is. I'm going to share this, and then we will get more into the discussion.
Analyzing Gabby Petito and Brian Laundrie's final encounters laid out on social media and in police body cam video. We're letting a local domestic violence expert weigh in. And as Tony Ann Torrens tells us, this is just one devastating example of violence that happens everywhere, every day.
With her being so visible with social media and all, that it brings domestic violence to the front of a lot of conversations.
Penelope House Executive Director Tony Ann Torrens believes Gabby Petito's disappearance and now homicide case has gained national attention because of the trail of social media Petito and fiance Brian Laundrie left for their followers. But she says the alleged domestic violence between the couple happens daily.
Domestic violence definitely knows no boundaries, and it can happen to anybody, any race, any culture, any socioeconomic status, any level of education.
This body camera video from Utah police has been viewed millions of times. Police pulled the couple over after a 911 call that Laundrie hit Petito. When police spoke to the couple separately, they noticed scratch marks on Laundrie. Torrens says police have a very tough job to do in these situations.
Law enforcement does have a difficult job determining who is the primary aggressor. Was the victim acting in self-defense, and therefore you will see marks on the perpetrator.
And take a look at this clip when officers first approached the van. There's speculation Petito could have been doing this violence at home signal for help.
It's very hard to look in those recordings what's actually going on. It's kind of frantic. So you can probably read into it, what you want to read into it as far as what she may or may not have done. But the bottom line is I think people need to understand, once again, that there is a lot of domestic violence in our communities, and often the domestic violence escalates to a situation where there is a homicide.
Now, police have not confirmed if that was the signal she was using, but if you are in a domestic situation, this is the signal that you can use to alert police if you're in danger. You first put your thumb down and then your fingers follow on top. And if you are a victim of domestic abuse, Torrens says to get out when it is safe to do so.
Okay, so that was something I had not heard of, the signal. Did you guys know about this signal where your hand is up, you put your thumb in the middle of your hand, and then you close your hand. So that's something new for me. I did not know that, but now that I do know, if I'm ever somewhere and I see something that looks a little weird and I see a woman do that symbol, I will know that she is asking for help. So that's good to know, if you didn't know that. I would also like to show you this website that I found. Let me share my screen again. Hold on. Okay, here it is. This site is called domesticshelters.org. And it says, we are the first and largest online and mobile searchable directory of domestic violence programs and shelters in the US and Canada. So it's domesticshelters.org. There's a little bit about it on the About page, their mission to make more people aware of the services available for those experiencing domestic violence and make it faster and easier for the victims of domestic violence and their friends and family to quickly find services and information best suited to their location, their language, and their needs. So one of the reasons why I wanted to highlight this one is because even on the home page right here, it says find nearby help, enter your zip code. My zip code is 21211 currently in Baltimore, Maryland. So if I put in my zip code and hit enter, then here's some shelters that come up right away. House of Ruth, I've heard of. That's a very well-known nonprofit in the Baltimore area. These other ones I had not heard of. And it looks like there's several more pages. When I lived in Charlotte, my zip code was 28262. And here's some that come up in the Charlotte area. Safe Alliance, Mecklenburg County Community Support Services, Prevention and Intervention, Survivors Outreach Ministries, and so forth. So again, this is domesticshelters.org. It looks like they have a lot of different resources. Topics on pretty much everything: human trafficking, identifying abuse, videos. So check out that site. Or actually you can recommend that site to someone. And then the last thing, because we want to hear from you all, of course, as we usually do. The last thing is I wanted to actually have some tips from a counselor. And I have found this particular counselor helpful in the past for other things. And I didn't even know that he had this video on domestic violence. So let's take a look at his 6 tips, and then we will let you all share.
It's Dr. Tartt, Christian psychologist. I want to talk to you about a serious topic. Do you know someone who might be in an abusive or controlling relationship and you struggle for how to help them? I mean, you've racked your brain, you've come up with different strategies, and you've even been surprised when you try to go in to help and they actually reject you, or it actually seems to make matters worse, or it seems to make them pull back from you. I'm going to give you 6 strategies. 6 strategies, and this is based on an article in Psychology Today by a phenomenal psychologist by the name of Dr. Lisa Aronson Fontes, all right, out of the University of Massachusetts Amherst. All right, number one, you have to counteract isolation. What an abuser does is he tries to isolate someone. I'm going to talk about male, female in this, even though this can happen part to the partner, female to male. All right, but we're going to talk about the most common type, all right, which is male to female. Typically tries to isolate her from her friends and her family. Well, you don't can't go out to dinner. You don't need to go to family events. You don't need to hang out with your girlfriends. The way you counteract that is you invite her out. Sometimes you have to pop up. Now, I wouldn't pop up by yourself, but just pop up with some friends and say, hey, we're going to get something to eat. We're in the neighborhood. Get dressed. Let's go, right? Or come to the gym. We're waiting on you, right? So counteract that isolation. So don't do nothing, because then she's all alone with him. Actually counteract it by inviting her a number of different places. No matter how many times she refuses, I can't tell you how many clients says, you know what? I decided to go because I couldn't say no the fifth time. I knew I would lose my girlfriends. All right, number 2, counteract gaslighting. And what gaslighting is someone that tries to intentionally make it seem like your reality is crazy. Like that didn't happen. They may even go so far as hide your keys and be like, you're so irresponsible, you can't even keep up with your keys. If you can't remember your keys, how you gonna remember what happened in our relationship, right? Or they might, you know, they did something. You saw them with another woman, all right? And they'll say, no, you think you saw me with another woman. You just make stuff up. All right, so what you do is you affirm her reality. You're like, yeah, girl, he really was with someone. Yeah, he does do things like that to control you. Or you know what? No, you haven't lost your mind. Girl, you got a PhD. All right, girl, you were smart, right? You were intelligent. You had your own business before you got into this relationship. You did not all of a sudden lose your memory when you're with this dude. So affirm them. Affirm their perspective. Number 3, you have to counteract the degradation. All right, so you know that he is telling her, you look too skinny, you look too big, you're not that smart, you're not that funny. If they're really, really toxic, they'll criticize the way you eat. They'll criticize the way you sleep. They'll criticize anything they can because they want to break you down so that you're so dependent upon the abuser for compliments that you'll do anything to earn one. So they have to break you down, kind of like what pimps do. All right, they break down, they even call their best person the bottom woman. All right, so abusers and manipulators do the same psychology. What you have to do is build her up. Girl, you look good. Girl, you are smart. Girl, you look good. I think that dress looks good on you. All right, that was an amazing idea. You're so talented. You should get back into you doing your art. Just build them up. Even if you're frustrated, remember, we're trying to counteract everything that he's doing. So build up their self-esteem, even if you're frustrated, versus, criticizing. Number 4, and this happens in almost every single abusive and controlling relationship. They try to control the money. All right, so you just might have to just slide him some money. All right, don't ask, just slide him some money. Tell him to hide this in case you ever need anything. He says no, you get an opportunity. Hey, here's this. You might even create, an account, a different name, and put their name on the account, right? So they can get it so he can't track it, girl. If you ever need anything, hey, here's the account number. Just grab this money and do what you need to do. If you ever need to exit or you need some money, if he's robbing you of food or you need to get a car, whatever it is, I know you don't give him that much money, but you see what I'm saying? You need to get an Uber or a Lyft to get out of there. You don't have money. Use this. All right, then don't ask them because they're probably going to say no. Or if they do ask, just say, I'm going to send it and you can send it back. No one sends money back, fam. Let's just be honest. All right, number 5, and this is probably the deepest one, counteract the tactic of fake romance and love. See, part of what helps being so hard to leave an abusive relationship is they don't always act abusive, right? That's too predictable. So what happens is after a fight, what do? They get roses. They start acting romantic. They plan a trip. They're kind. They're loving. But it's predictable, all right? So their love and charm and charisma is predictable only to get something that they want or to counteract something negative so that the person cannot leave. So make sure that you allow them to see this coming. So part of what we do as psychologists is say, just predict. Just write down a calendar of what happens. You're going to start to see a pattern of after y'all get into an argument, he does something. Right next comes the charm, just to will you back in, just so he can abuse you again. It's a cycle. So don't try to tell them, because they're going to be like, nah, girl, you just mad because, right? How many of y'all got in that? Because you don't have a man, or because he's charming, or he's loving, or he has some problems, right? Nah. We're not doing any of that. Help them to see it for themselves. So when it happens, after they put their hands on him, or he's controlled the money, then they realize the next day, yeah, he's really sweet. I noticed what she was saying, all right? And then number 6, counteract physical violence, all right? Now, that doesn't mean get in the middle of it. That just means that when you see it, say something like, girl, what happened to your eye? All right, you don't look so good. All right, what happened to your arm? Or why are holes in the wall? How did your window get bust out in your car? Say something to them and then tell them, just straight tell them where to find help. Like if it ever gets too rough, all right, catch them off guard. But girl, I'm fine. Well, if it ever gets too rough, You know, there are these safe houses. Let me give this one. Here's one. Send them a link on their phone. Tell them, hide this in your photos. Password protected. Or keep this someplace safe, right? But if you ever need to get out of here, hey, here's how you get out of this, all right? If you ever need anything, use that economic fund I put in there. Use that stimulus package I gave you to get up out of there in case it ever gets too rough, because this is not okay. All right, I know you love them. I know you're in it. I know you can't see it, but you should never, ever have bruises and bumps all on your body, you know, and you know, you should never look like you hadn't slept for 2 days, and you shouldn't look like this. But if it ever gets too rough, just know that I love you, I care for you, and you should never be in a relationship where you fear for being able to talk to me. All right? Family, I hope that helps, y'all. I hope this helps. If you want more tips like this on all things mental health, relationships, family therapy, all you have to do is just text 470-741-7831, and you'll be part of my email list, and I'll just send you things like this so you can be able to help people. I'm going to send you an article to be able to help people when it comes to domestic violence.
Okay, so that was Dr. Alduan Tartt, T-A-R-T-T, and he is actually out of Decatur, Georgia. So he's in Georgia. Okay, so I believe that is all that I wanted to share. I'm going to stop the video so that we can all share our own personal experiences. If you are watching this video afterwards, thank you so much for joining. For future discussions, please go to friendshipmixers.com. Consider joining us as a member there.